just to give you a bit of background, obviously the child feeding project, concept, recipe book, whatever you want to call it, came about because of listening to Charlotte's story about Sophie. And it kind of just touched me and Michael that we should do something about this. We'd already written 8 other books and concepts and food programs, which we now train through the NHS Chefs Academy, and quite a few chefs here today have been to the Chefs Academy or supported it. And to date, we've put nearly 400 chefs, NHS chefs in England, through a one-day session with us, which has been, it's inspiring. You know, my background is not NHS, but it's kind of, it lit a spark in me. It just touched me. The energy, the enthusiasm, the chefs that we've got in the kitchens in NHS England are inspiring. They're the hidden heroes of the NHS. And I think NHS Chef of the Year is now raising the profile of the NHS chef in a much bigger and better way than we've ever done. And so I had a meeting with Charlotte, and she lives really close to me, and I had a meeting with her in a coffee shop. I bought one coffee, and we were there for 3.5 hours. The people that own the coffee shop were probably sick of us sitting in there. But she just talked through all the trials and tribulations and the story about Sophie when she was in hospital and the problems she had, the food that she wanted she didn't have access to. And the book itself, those that have seen it, it's not rocket science, any of it. We really had to strip it back, because when we launch in these projects, we get all chefy and get all creative, you know, and we like to write recipes with 30 steps and 200 ingredients. You know what chefs are like, Michael?
Even reading them, I'll probably get this wrong now, won't I? Let's be honest, even if the recipe's there in front of me.
And so we had to strip it right back, and we worked with Leanne and another chef called Millie on this, and it's just a collection of recipes. This is the start. But then when we created the book, we thought, well, hang on, the patient in the bed is not going to see this book. This book will either go to ward or go in the kitchen. And so what we created then was a menu holder. So the idea is, if you've got this in a trust where you're doing scratch cookery for children on the children's ward, you can create a menu or elements of this and then slip it in here and then take that to the child in the bedside. And you did a recent trial in Sheffield, wasn't it?
We did it in Sheffield. The children loved it. The feedback from it was really good. It's really interactive. Let's be honest, none of them want to be there, and nobody wants to see a child in hospital. So anything that we can do to uplift their stay there, the better, is it really?
And it's about making food fun. It's about making it interesting. You know, so things like, there is chicken nuggets in here, but the chicken nugget is whole muscle meat. It's not a reformed turkey Twizzler, excuse the pun. It's not that. It's a proper piece of meat. The fish finger, butty, is whole fish, not reformed fish. So it's about using quality ingredients to create interesting meals. And we're going to show you, we're going to try and show you 3 dishes, which is not easy in 20 minutes. So we're going to show a dish which was one of Sophie's favourite dishes, which is a tortilla chicken bake. She liked a bit of spicy food, and it's dead simple to put together. So Michael will be prepping that.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with a flapjack, which is not rocket science. Again, there'll be a bit coming out later for people to try. This one has got dried apricots in it. I'm going to show one with fresh blueberries. Why fresh blueberries, you're saying? Is because we couldn't get any apricots this morning. And the chef in the kitchen had some blueberries, so we've nicked his.
That's the way the day works for everybody, though, isn't it? If you've not got it, sometimes you have to adapt. So.
And also in this flapjack, bananas. How many times do you go into any kitchen and you see bananas going black that nobody wants to eat? So again, food waste. Use the bananas, fork them up, put them in it. But again, not rocket science, but the idea is those kind of snacks are great to make and put them on the ward. Kids eat at all different times. They don't conform to breakfast, lunch and dinner, especially like Sophie in the oncology ward. She would wake up at 2 in the morning and want food. And guess what? There was nothing there for her, nothing to eat. So you need to make sure that there's snacks and things like that in this book that are there, can be there on the ward any time of the day for a child to eat, and make it interesting. We're going to do a bagel as well, a bagel pizza. Not rocket science. It's using the sauce that we'll use it in the taco dish. So utilizing the sauce twice on a bagel pizza, and you serve the pizza and you can put chips sticking out the top of it. It's just a bit of fun. But again, snacky kind of ingredients. So anyway, Michael, what are you doing now, mate?
So I'm going to make, right now, the tomato sauce that's in the book there. It's packed full of vegetables. So we call it the hidden tomato vegetable sauce. Again, it's not setting the world alight. However, the more vegetables and nutrition we can put into every single recipe, the better, especially if they don't know about it. So it's very much straightforward as far as a tomato sauce goes. However, we've got the added value of courgettes, peppers, leeks, and carrots as well. And again, they won't know that they're in there. They don't need to be told. It's very simple to do. Doesn't take a lot of time either. And like we say, you can utilize that across all of those tomato-based dishes, whether that's in pasta or anywhere.
So excuse me having my back to you because the range is here. So what I've just done there is I've put some butter or margarine in a pan, melted it down with some syrup. You can also use honey if you want. And we're just melting that down. Once that's melted down, I'm going to add the oats, just standard oats, crushed bananas, let it bubble for a minute, fold in the blueberries, and then it'll go into a greased dish like this, and it's baked for about 30 minutes. Comes out, leave it sitting on the side, decant it, wrap it, save it for later as a snack. Dead simple.
And like you say, you can use it to utilize any of that for the food waste, you know, like blueberries, any of those fruits that you might have around. It does work with dried, but it could work with tinned as well. So it's very versatile, very straightforward to make. A catering assistant could make this. Doesn't have to be a chef, if you get my drift.
Some of the dishes that are in the book have got hidden vegetables. We all know kids don't like eating vegetables or won't eat them if you put them in front of them. So the sauce is full of hidden vegetables, and then it's blitzed up, so it's all hidden. There's also a curry, a cauliflower curry, which we did try out on children. We didn't just go off blindly and think, well, it tastes all right to me, I like it. We actually got kids into Chertsey, our development kitchens, and got them to taste some of the dishes, which is key for getting it over the line. I think you've got to involve your audience that's going to eventually eat this food.
Yeah, definitely. And that was a really good day to actually get them in and get their opinion, because all they wanted was chips, let's be honest. Chips and nuggets, and unfortunately that's not what they got. But it gave us a real clever insight into what they actually need. Even though I've got 2 boys and I let them have what they want, just to make my life easier, not in hospital. That's not the way we need to work, is it? So it is a good way to do it. Right, we're still cooking over here, we're cooking on gas.
I'm going to kind of move to the front for a minute. I'm just going to add the oats to this. Of course, I've weighed all this out before, so. And then squish up the bananas. There's always bananas hanging around in kitchens. I don't know many kitchens where there aren't. Get that in there. And again, it's about getting some fruit in there.
There's always a box in the corner somewhere, isn't there, of bananas that are just slowly rotting away that everybody looks at and just thinks that's not my problem.
Well, you know, when it sits in a fruit bowl, it's like the runt of the litter. Nobody wants it, do they? They just walk past it and give it a damn good ignoring.
Yeah. And
so again,
sorry, go on, Chef.
You know, we bang on about food waste all the time. You probably hear it 2 or 3 times today. But food waste is really, really important, and it's a really good subject nowadays. I think you talk about NHS budgets and what you're spending on food. If you can go some way to manage your waste and reduce the cost of your food, then that money can be reinvested into other parts of the menu and the kitchen itself. So the oats now have soaked up the margarine, also the syrup. I'm just folding the bananas in. If I was using the one that's going to come out later, it's got dried apricots in it, they would have been pre-chopped and then gone in. You can be a bit more vigorous with those. They're a bit more forgiving than a fresh blueberry. So when I put the blueberries in, I will just fold it very gently because we don't want to burst all those blueberries. And actually, they're the biggest blueberries I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're amazing.
They're massive, like grapes. And obviously, if you're really worried about the size of these, they will break down when they cook. You can cut them in half. So, but in this case, we're just keeping them whole.
But again, work really well in your coffee shops and stuff like that as well. It bakes and sets really well. But also, when you look at the sauce here, for example, I don't know how well you can see the colours in that pan, but that adds a bit of joy, doesn't it? Even when you're cooking it, you want to be able to see those lovely colours and flavours when you're actually making it. And that actually will show in all the food that you do moving forward. You know, pretty food makes tasty food, I find. What do you think, Chef?
Well, people eat with their eyes, don't they? I mean, I don't know if it's a true stat, but somebody once said to me that a lot of children go on tube feeding very quickly when they go into hospital. Now, you can dispel that myth, I don't know, I was told it. But to me, it's a really sad case where a child has to go on tube feeding because they don't like the food or they become malnourished. And we've always heard those things that, you know, people lose weight in hospital because they don't like the food. I don't think, to be honest, a lot of the hospitals I've been in, and I have been in quite a few in the last 3 or 4 years, you know, I don't see any real bad practices. I see energised chefs who are working to a budget which they could do with more money and better equipment and a better kitchen. But to be honest, they're all trying to do a good job. And I'm a great believer that no chef goes to work and in the back of their head they go, you know what, I'm going to do a really crap job today. They don't. They go to work because they believe in what they're doing and they enjoy cooking and they enjoy feeding people and making them feel happy through food. So there we go. That's all in there. Just a greaseproof lined tray, and that'll go in the oven now.
Not the washing machine.
No, not the washing machine. Cheers. Like I said, I've cooked some of this earlier, so we will be putting it out for people to eat, or try. So what we've done now, Michael, with the sauce?
So the sauce, I've just added our veg stock into it. After cooking out the tomato puree, add my chopped tomatoes in a moment, and then we'll be ready to blend, hopefully before we run out of time.
Right,
Which
okay.
just goes to show it's a real quick, easy recipe. Need to just give that a wipe out for the fajita mix.
Right, do we have a cloth?
There's one there.
Oh, there we go.
And then we're going to go on to cooking the fajita bake. Now, you'll see there how we've prepared the vegetables in those lovely lines. Like I say, pretty food makes good food. That's something that we teach at our Skills Academy as well, for the different salad preparations that we can do in order to show how a catering assistant or a chef could prepare their ingredients the day before without them bleeding into flavours. So if you can prepare it in that way, you can then use it the following day as quick as you want.
Can you all see that? See the lovely colours in it? All that fresh veg, all going to make a sauce. How much goodness is in that for somebody to eat?
Yeah. And it might seem like we're telling you how to suck eggs, but sometimes these are the simple steps that people can forget in the kitchen, without a doubt.
The other good thing about the book is we didn't do it in isolation, so we work with a dietitian, Idris, who will be coming on later. We use them all the way through. There's a section on there about eating through the ages. Obviously, a 5-year-old doesn't eat the same as a teenager. Teenagers have different likes and different wants. And also, portion size as well. Getting the portion right for the age of the child. And I think that's really, really important. There's nothing worse than a huge plate of food. I know in my granddaughter, if I put a huge plate of food in front of her, it almost turns her off eating because she says, oh my God, I've got to eat all this. So just nice, sensible portions. And there's loads of little snippets in there. Obviously, there's a link. There's sun-on fortification, flexible meal patterns, and a really emotive subject at the moment is feeding parents and guardians while the child's in hospital. And there's a real movement now to make that happen. I know lots of trusts in the UK are now doing that at no cost. Yeah. Because the other question there is, when you say, well, we can't feed the parents or the guardians, how much food goes in the bin at the end of the day in a trust? You know, I'm not saying get the food out of the bin and give it to the parents and guardians. What I'm saying is there is waste. And if there's waste, it'd be better being repurposed and given to parents and guardians on the ward. And that movement is really gathering momentum now. And I think it's a fantastic thing. Because I know when my daughter went in hospital, my wife didn't want to go down to the restaurant or canteen and eat separately. She wanted to stay with her daughter. And why wouldn't you, you know? So, yeah. And obviously, when the parents are there, they can encourage the child to eat. And last thing we want is getting malnourished. So, the bake, which we're going to do in a minute. So, Michael's got the chicken there. Again, we're just using breast meat. The reason we're using breast meat is it's easier to digest and eat. I know a lot of kitchens now are using thigh meat for a lot of things. But unless you really cook it out, its eating quality isn't quite the same. It's got good flavour, but, you know, breast meat is a lot easier to cook, a lot easier to digest, and it's cut into small portions. So what he's doing now, he's sweating off the chicken. He'll then add onions and garlic to that and let that sweat off. Then he'll add the tinned tomatoes.
I'm not going to use all this.
No, you won't need all of that. and then the peppers as well. Sweat that down. Then with the tin tomatoes and the beans, the mixed beans, that all goes into the pan, and then we layer it with the tortillas. So standard tortillas, basically it's like a lasagna. It's a tortilla lasagna, for want of a better word. Yeah. And it's just layered up like that. And they did this dish in Sheffield, didn't you?
Yeah, we did it in Sheffield along with a few others. And again, went down really well. We went down with the cowboy pie as well. I don't know if you've had a look through. You've all got one on your table, haven't you? But yeah, the staff loved it. The staff loved the engagement of doing all that fresh food, as well as the patients themselves. Obviously, we didn't go in and actually speak to the children, but the feedback we did get was brilliant. And if Sheffield are here, I'm sure you can vouch for us. Put your hands up if you are.
Is Sheffield here?
Sheffield Children's Hospital not here? No, I didn't think I could see you, but that's a shame.
Oh.
Maybe next time.
But just to let you know, at the end of the day, you will all get a PDF sent to you of this book. If you do want a copy of it, there are a few to give away. That's right, Phil, isn't it? There are a few to give away, and the menu holders. But all I would say, if you're a trust that feeds children, and you've got scratch cookery, i.e. chefs in the kitchen cooking those meals, then this is for you. If it's a DRPM meal, and you're not cooking it, there's ideas there, and you will get the PDF, but I would say don't take a hard copy of the book. There are a few to go around anyway, and there was some on the tables. Do you know what? It's an interesting read anyway, with some of the facts and figures that are in it. And it's probably been one of the best projects we've worked upon out of all the concept books we've done, or food program books we've done. And I could see us doing a version 2 of this, because it's not exhaustive. There's tons more food you could do for children and kids as trends change, and we'd love to do a second one. But we're just scratching the surface and raising the profile of child feeding in conjunction with Sophie's Legacy and Charlotte Ferrell.
And like we said, similarly with Sheffield, we do come and do that within your trust. We can come in, work with your team, invigorate them to want to do better food. Not that they do bad food, but looking at different ways in which you can improve that on a slight basis. So obviously we are here all day if you want to speak to us, or reach out to our team.
Right, so the chicken's all been sweated off. Now I'm going to add the vegetables, the onions, the garlic, sweat that off, and bear in mind, this is going to go into an oven as well. So you don't need to soften it completely, the veg, because it'll spend half an hour in the oven. And like good Blue Peter style, there's one in the oven already.
Yeah.
So that one's had 20 minutes, it's bubbling away in there.
Yep.
And by all means, if you want to taste it later, we'll keep it in the kitchen, come and taste it.
And then we're going to start on the pizza as well, Chef. I think is what we need
Right.
next.
So the pizzas, not rocket science, any of this. We asked people about, what do they like in their, they like pizzas. And again, this came about because there was a load of wasted bagels in the kitchen. We didn't think, we'll do a bagel pizza. We saw them and we thought, well, how can we use these bagels that are kicking around in the kitchen? And basically, we just thought, we'll do a pizza. So we're going to use the tomato sauce that Michael's making that forms the base of that other sauce. Here's one we prepared earlier. Do we have a spoon?
I do, Chef. I'm prepared.
Spreading a spoon.
Go.
Cheers, mate. That's a fork.
Or a fork. 2 forks, is it?
2 forks. And all we're doing is spreading this sauce, which has got all the hidden vegetables in it. Now, you can toast the bagels before. It's up to you. And then what we do, we're just covering it with mozzarella cheese. And you've got a margherita pizza, albeit in a bagel or on a bagel.
And again, in an ideal world, you could have an all-day dining menu, really, where the children aren't pinholed into set times when they have to eat. If at all possible, you could have stuff like this that's so simple to throw together that they can order when they're hungry as opposed to when they're told they have to eat. So this, you can have that sauce built out, bagels straight from the freezer, straight in the oven, and that can go straight up to the ward. I appreciate it won't work on every hospital, but if there's a slightest possibility of being able to do that, to improve that child's day, just one little bit, where they could have whatever toppers they want on there or anything like that that's something a bit more interactive, just try and open your minds to it, because it would be great.
We served this on a plate a few weeks ago, and we actually put skinny French fries and stuffed them in the middle so it looked like a bit of a porcupine, which was quite novel, just something different. And it's kind of thinking out of the box differently. Well, for me it is anyway, because, normally chefs They want everything to look really pretty on a plate, don't they? Everything laid out and everything sourced perfectly. It's a bagel pizza. That's all it is. It's not rocket science. But you know what? If it gets people to eat and it gets them to enjoy their food, then why wouldn't you do it? So again, just mozzarella on there. Does anybody do bagel pizzas at home? You do bagel pizzas at home. What, for yourself? All right, you put an egg in them. There you go.
Egg, that's Instagrammable, isn't it? We need to think about that.
Should get it on
What we
Instagram,
want.
chef.
Get it on the Instagram.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll take some of the tomato sauce. More
But-
of that.
You know,
On the
last week I was up in Cannock, just up the road from here, and we had the mentor day for the 8 teams that are going through to the final of NHS Chef. And they all arrive on that first day really nervous about what they're coming into and about what's happening. But you see the camaraderie and the enthusiasm and the excitement about what's coming when they leave, because they know about the final competition. And I've judged lots of competitions in my life. I would say the NHS Chef competition is probably the hardest competition in the country right now. How many dishes do they do? 82 dishes they have to create using different challenges, from child feeding, dysphagia, fake away. They do all these challenges over the 4 days, and then on the 5th day they cook their menu. So by the time you get to the final, you've cooked 82 dishes, which is unbelievable. But the camaraderie, the excitement, the tears, and that's just the judges. You know, it's just amazing. It's amazing competition to be part of. And it really does profile the NHS in its best light. It really does. Right, so we've got the mix here. I'm just going to build this dish. Michael's going to finish the sauce.
We'll start blending.
So, all you do is layer this in here. Where's my big metal spoon? Is it
I'm
there?
using it, chef.
Can I have
Wanna
it?
swap? It's all cooked. It's no,
Cheers, chef.
no mixing here.
Thoroughly nice chap.
Oh, I had you try.
Right, so just lay. Can you all see this, what I'm doing? Where's the camera? Oh, there he is. Can you see the top of my head as well? For how long?
Shiny.
2 minutes?
2 minutes. That's
Ah,
perfect.
straight.
We've got 2 minutes.
Right, so we layer it. 1, 2, 3 layers with the tortilla. So I've cut some in like triangles. Just lay these on here. 1, 2, 3, 4. More mix. More chicken mix on there. And just keep building it up until you've used all the mix. 1, 2, 3, 4. The last
And then you can
layer
add
of
some
mix.
of that as well to just moisten it up.
Oh,
I'm going to
thank
blend
you.
away, shall I?
Yeah, blend away, mate. And then what I'm doing is trying to shout over you. I just cut them into triangles. Just going to lay these on the top in a pretty pattern. And then I'm going to put cheese on the top and bake it in the oven. Approximately 20 minutes. You got to remember, most of the component parts of this are already cooked. So you're just finishing it and bringing it all together. That's that. Cheese on top. Everybody loves melted cheese. That's that.
And while you're in lunch and networking, we'll have a little taster pot here if you want to come try it. Obviously,
pizzas.
there's no salt in any of this either.
There's the dish. And like Blue Peter, you got that, chef?
Yeah, I think so. It's heavy, this.
Yeah, it is heavy, isn't it? Ooh. I'll tell you what, I'll stand it on.
And it on that.
It's not going to like sitting on that top. It's probably too hot. There you go.
There we go.
And there's the dish there, already cooked. Crispy top, nice melted cheese, bubbling away. Fresh chicken, vegetables, and the tomato sauce, which we've used on the pizzas, on the bagel pizzas. And there's the sauce, and it's in there as well. And the flapjack is still cooking. There will be some samples coming out with the apricot one And
Yeah, that's
thank you
it.
very much.
Thank you for having us.